The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is losing a record number of its membership. A new report quotes an LDS General Authority who says more members are falling away today than any time in the past 175 years.
Travis Wingoodsell. I had a resurgence for this video at the start of season 3 of The Mentalist, so I had to put in the headphones so it doesn't interrupt this, and YouTube goes, well, they don't have people working the screen for that anymore, but anyway, I've got another program on the other computer that needs my attention in 10 minutes. What's interesting about the coronavirus that people are not making the connection to, because they are not connecting Trump to having caused this. I took it out. When I went over the ranking concept that's used in the church, which came from the Illuminati, which was then part of the Scottish Rites Masonry, and then spread through all the other infiltrated organizations around the world now, in countries and businesses and etc. There's a process by which loyalty is rewarded and disloyalty is punished. And in the church, I've informed you how, despite how I was thinking I was being very loyal, having pursued the education and study and made decipherments of Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian petroglyphs, discovering that, sure enough, the biblical text comes from the Egyptian documents, from the petroglyphs specifically. And I was planning on doing a translation for you, not how to translate like I did in the previous video, but actual translation for you of the book of Joseph. But my perceived loyalty to the church was met with disloyalty, as they interpreted it as usurping the president of the church's authority and priesthood key of translation. And so even though I confirmed Joseph Smith was a legitimate translator, not of the Book of Abraham or Mormon, not of the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible, which is actually just a revision, both of those were written by Sidney Rigdon. But his Book of Abraham was a legitimate translation, though partial and with a few errors, of the Egyptian petroglyphs. And Egyptologists don't know that the petroglyphs are supposed to be translated. That's how I walked into it. That's how I'm the decipherer of Egyptian petroglyphs. And so, despite this, the church sees me as the threat. Because, as I found out by doing church history research finally, and at the end of 2017 is when I began the research, I learned the reason why the Nauvoo Temple, built and designed by Brigham Young, though they claim it was Joseph's design, it was Joseph this, Joseph that, Joseph started polygamy, Joseph started racism in the Book of Mormon, Joseph is to blame for this, Joseph is to blame for that. We're just continuing what Joseph did and wanted to do, or was doing in secret. No, it was all Brigham Young. But the inverted pentagram was the big clue and the tip-off to Mormons that I don't think we're in Jesus Christ Church anymore. But yeah, I never knew the design on the Nauvoo temple. They don't tell us that in the church. And I didn't live in Salt Lake City, so I didn't go to the Utah or the Salt Lake temple to see the inverted pentagrams way up high, and I still didn't recognize them even when I was here going to the temple or Temple Square and such. It's out of sight, out of mind, which is what my mother always wanted to practice with us kids. But yeah, Brigham Young has had the signs and symbols of the reality of the church. It's no secret. It's no secret. It's no secret. Kylie Minogue, her older one, her original songs. And so the secret handshakes and the secret code words and all that stuff, and how the Bible says, or the Book of Mormon says, that's what the secret combinations and the Great and Abominable Church use. So yeah, we were warned, but I was clueless. And so for my disloyalty to the Church of Lucifer Christ of Latter-day Saints, I had been punished with neglect, shunning. They had a troublemaker file on me, 36434. That was the number of the file. And all my decipherment that I sent to them, they put in that file. The troublemaker file, where I was giving them how Joseph Smith was a legitimate translator. They called me a troublemaker for it. And were keeping tabs on me and monitoring me. So bishops would deny me assistance. They'd helped my ex flee the country to Canada to take my kids away from me and take my property and my research on Paleo-Hebrew. And as the ex said, my kids will not be learning Hebrew. Oh, you are abandoning our marriage because I was deciphered Paleo-Hebrew in February. So, yay, families can be together forever unless you show that Joseph Smith was correct. Unless you give disloyalty to the Brighamite branch. And that's what we're witnessing under coronavirus. This is why Herbert and Trump and President Nelson are all guilty of blood. They're punishing everybody under them for our disloyalty to them. And you think, well, what the church? What have we done to the church? How many Mormons stopped being active since they came out with the gospel topic essays? To tell them that I'm wrong, that Joseph Smith is not a legitimate translator, that Joseph Smith is just a spiritual revelator. Yeah. Mormons were disloyal and stopped going to church. 11 million. That's a huge chunk of tithing that they didn't get to funnel off into Ensign Peak Associates, and so only 100 billion were there rather than upwards of who knows how many more billion could have been in there. But that's just one of the operations that has money funneled into investments. As we learned with that scandal, the church came out and said, yeah, we do it with all our businesses. That's our model. Every income source that we have, we take a portion of that and invest it. And $100 billion is how much Jeff Bezos is worth. Jeff Bezos, $100 billion. Church has $100 billion just with one source of revenue. Jeff Bezos is a small fish compared to the church. And, okay. Cool. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to take care of this. I'll be with you in just a second. Okay. And so, I never did tell you why The Mentalist was so funny. It's the first episode in season 3 where the woman is so distraught and she has a security guard from whatever the mentalist guy is working with, whatever their organization or group is called, and he keeps calling her ma'am, and so she gets offended. Oh, why do you keep calling me ma'am? You know, it's like the woman who would come to the pizza joint where I worked at in high school, pouring beer from the tap. It must have been legal for them to have me do that, but you know, I didn't know what the silver bullet was. And so she comes up, and she's a little bit drunk already, and orders another pitcher of beer. So I get it for her, and she pays for it, and then she gets all offended that I didn't ask her for her driver's license. And so I brush it off by trying to play that it's some kind of a secret thing that I'm trying to let her get away with beer underage, but too late. She didn't fall for that. But on the show here, she was going, how old do I look anyway? After he keeps calling her madam. And he gives her an honest answer, about 49, 50. She just bawls. I mean, this show must have come out before American Pie came out. I know Mormons haven't seen American Pie, so they have no clue as to what I'm referring to in regards to a certain incident between working on painting the house, or so they let it appear. That one particular scene, if you remember what they were talking about. But never mind. Anyway, so yeah, the whole coronavirus is punishment. Literally punishment for America's disloyalty. And Mormons are getting punished for their disloyalty, as Nelson purposely was slow to shut down the full church. He's a medical doctor. He knows we've got a virus infecting America. We need to shut down the whole church. We need to bring our missionaries home immediately. Nope. Shut down the whole church. And now, even though we're still on the rise, he's now opening City Creek. And that was a scandal just in and of itself when it was built. And now they're going to open that again, if it's not already opened. And they're just only interested in money and punishing us for our disloyalty. That's how it works in criminal organizations. So Governor Herbert, Utahns were disloyal. They gave him the middle finger when he tried to ban gay marriage, when he tried to ban medical marijuana. Utah said, no, we need medical marijuana. We have sick and afflicted who need this. So now you're being punished for your disloyalty. You're being punished for speaking out against their attempt to murder the homeless. The whole Gateway Mall project was to eliminate the homeless from Utah. Did you know that? I mean, I was going over these videos for you. They had the road home at 1,100 beds. These 3 brand new shelters that finally got built, 400 beds less, all combined. And if you've been paying attention, homeless are being murdered because they neglected to put in street lights. And police are rounding up the homeless and dumping them off at the shelter, and then there's no room in the shelter, so they go back to the streets, and the police round them up again. We're being punished for our disloyalty, because criminal organizations work on the principle of loyalty. Trump, the whole time in his presidency, loyalty, I need loyalty. With Jim Comey, you know, give me loyalty. No, Mr. President, you're fired. That's how it works. You give loyalty or you're punished. I've been punished in this apartment building. The landlord, I told you about that in other videos and just the other video I did today. You know, I was disloyal. Not really, but in their thinking, yes. They want me gone so that they can have somebody who will be loyal fill my apartment. So they destroyed my second marriage and then came after me. They tried to have me disappeared again permanently. That failed on them. They committed crimes. They forged medical documents. And they're getting away with it. You know, the landlord neglected the maintenance, knowing, because it's in my file, they have to take care of the regular maintenance of the air unit, because I have mold allergies that can kill me. It causes the respiratory problems. It causes the getting a high temperature. It causes earaches. And so I don't know if it's coronavirus or if it's the mold that I had right from the beginning of all this coronavirus. And then they tried to have me evacuated at the beginning of the coronavirus. Not evacuated, evicted. They literally tried to have me evicted. They had a false accusation of which I had video evidence of my innocence, but they refused to look at it. So I've still got a mark on my record here, after 5 years of living here with no rec mark on my record. All of a sudden, got a mark. Disloyalty to the cops. Why? Because I called to complain about the treatment of abuse that I'm getting here. So the cops think I'm now being disloyal, and I can't call the cops for help anymore. Thank you, Mayor Ron Bigelow, from my ward. I was disloyal to Bishop Reed Hammond because I pursued my videos saying, hey, Joseph Smith's a translator. Huh. Why do you even bother coming to church, Travis? Seems a lot like Benedict's treatment by King Noah and his priest, Bishop. I was disloyal. And it's not my fault. I just refuse to participate in criminal activity. I refuse to lie I refused to cover things up. I pursued the truth. I wanted to be left alone. I didn't want to be abused and bullied. And that's disloyalty. Because bullies, when they see you flex, they go, oh, okay, it's on. Because they're in a position of power, authority, and trust. That's dangerous to have bullies in that kind of position. But it's all over Utah. Bullies control Utah. And now we are, as a whole people, are being punished for standing up against the bullies, for exposing the bullies' corruption, for exposing the bullies' abuse, for exposing the bullies' fraud, deception, lies, crimes. And so we're being punished. Because we have children who are sick and need medical marijuana. We are being punished. Because we don't want to join the church, we are being punished. Because we don't want to stay in the church, we are being punished. That's how it works. That's what's going on right now. How many more times do I need to repeat this until you finally catch on? And Trump is going after his own people for not being as loyal as they needed to be. He's telling them to drink bleach. You know, just go kill yourselves. You guys aren't loyal. Fox News, you're not loyal enough. I like AON. Wow. Like I warned you guys, the devil does not support his own. You can be loyal as all you want, but eventually it won't be enough. And they'll come after you too. So remember that as we're all dying, our lives being ruined financially. Because how long is it going to be without a paycheck coming in that you're going to be able to pay for your internet service? Because the internet service, they're not going to make it for free. See, businesses are in on it too, even though they're petty cash at $100 billion. The church owns them. Literally. Xfinity, I found out the church owns Xfinity. Not in the sense of ownership, but they invest. Thus, do us a favor, though, because we are investing in you. And Xfinity knows better than to go against them. Because they're not a regular customer like me. Hey, I pay you every month. You owe me. Yeah, whatever. No. They recognize money as power. And the church has money. When the church says jump, they say how high. That's why YouTube blocks my videos, slows them down as best they can. Shut down my old channel. That's why my website got shut down. Because the new company that took over owned by the church through investing. Google search owned by the church, thus YouTube owned by Google. The judges, all in the pocketbooks of the church. They owe the church. They need to give loyalty to the church. In conference, Mormons gave loyalty, an oath of loyalty. That's what the sustaining vote is, people. It's an oath of loyalty. It is not, oh, I support and sustain the church, yay. Prophets, seers, and revelators, we are led by men of God. No. It's a loyalty oath done in public. And it's done in the temples as well. That's done in secret. Law of consecration. Everything to the church. Everything. And it should scare you. Because like I said, their symbol is the inverted pentagram, which has only one interpretation. Don't listen to them when they distract you by saying, oh, it's a Freemason thing. Yeah. Exactly. And Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball were a part of that. Joseph was in the other one. And so I don't know how he was able to, I guess he must have assumed that what his family had done in 1826 had been taken care of, so they didn't worry about it in 1842. Because technically he wasn't allowed to join a Scottish Rites organization in 1842, as Hiram had been a member of a York Rite during the 1826 incident. But then Heber wasn't supposed to, but no. So, yeah. That's what's happening, guys. That's why this is happening to America the hardest. Disloyalty. They're punishing us. So now you know.